Hey, yo, it's me, Pops Van Marmalade, and you're watching the Comics Related Madness Network. Huh? So come get some. CromCon. CromCon.
Your favorite podcast is Critical Blast.
Hi, this is Tim TK, host of That Silverline Show on Tuesday. Join us at 11 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Pacific every Tuesday night as we discuss pop culture and the joys of making comics.
Hi, I'm Dean Zachary, host of Silverline's Wednesday Wham, where we go beyond politics, beyond calculation, and beyond the big two. Join us each and every Wednesday. Don't miss out.
Hi, I'm Roland Mann, and I host Silverline's Silver Sunday. Join me every Sunday at 8 p.m. Eastern as we make mine Silverline.
Hello, everyone. Whoa.
You okay?
I think I have one of my streams on, so it's really loud. There it is. So the music came on really loud. Brett said, "Okay, we're live," and then the transition, which is odd because we're going to be talking about music tonight, right? Hello, everyone, and welcome to Silver Sunday. I think I got to start numbering these. I think this is 3. But we're going to talk about, it says what music do you listen to while writing? I think we should probably actually say what music do you listen to while creating? And that's what we're going to really talk about tonight. A few brief updates here. For those of you who backed the Silverline double feature Divinity and Twilight Grim, the files have been sent off to the printer. We got the money from, I'll put an update on Kickstarter as well. Files have been sent off to the printer though, so now we are just waiting on Kablam to do our lovely printer Kablam to print the books, and then I will get them and then we will ship them to you. I do not have, for those of you who pledged for Alex Sarabia pages, those pages are coming from Mexico, and I do not have those yet. I don't think it's going to be the same situation that we find ourselves in with the Kalis 2 pages from Argentina, which still have not been sent because all the Argentinian post offices are closed. So I'll actually take a picture of your Kalis books to let you know I still have them here and they're just waiting for artwork. And as you've seen, we've started posting yesterday about the Kickstarter we've got coming up, which will be Bloodline One Shot. And Friar Rush #1. Bloodline one shot is just that's it. It's just a one shot, and Friar Rush is going to be a 3-issue miniseries. So we've got that coming up. So get ready for that. I think that's really it for the news. Anybody else got any news? Nope. Okay, so I'm gonna go around and have everybody introduce themselves. I'm Roland. I am the writer of Cat and Mouse and kind of the chief wrangler here. And the first up on my murderer's row here is Curtis Fujita. Curtis, introduce yourself.
Hello, I'm Curtis Fujita. I'm an artist working in comic books, video games, animation. I'm the editor on the Kayla series at Silverline, and I'm also the creator.
Nice. Barb. Tell folks who you
Hi, I am Barb Kelberg, and I am the creator and part of the co-writer and the inker for Divinity, which just concluded a successful Kickstarter. I'm the inker for Cat and Mouse, which is pages I'm working on now. The colorist for Sirens. The inker for an upcoming book that doesn't have a name yet. I don't think that's the title. And I am also the CFO of Silverline Comics. So I wear many, many hats.
Yes. Yeah, and we are going to get a name for that because we can't keep just calling it Champ and
That book.
That book, yeah. We could just say, hey, it's something big coming up, right? Becca's like, no, you can't.
Yeah.
That's my line. All right, Pete, tell everybody who you are.
Yeah, hi everybody. I'm Pete. I don't have as many titles as everybody else so far. I'm just the artist or the penciler on the unnamed book, Champion of Miss Fury. That's all I can say. Sorry, it's all a bit of a come down after everybody else. But
I will have to say this, Pete. I've been doing comics a long time, been around a lot of people at conventions. I have never heard an artist say, "I'm just the artist."
I'm just the artist. Yeah.
I've heard writers and letterers say, "Yeah, I'm just the writer," or "I'm just the letterer." Right? I've heard that many times at conventions, but I don't think I've ever heard an artist say, "I'm just the artist."
I'm just a little penciler. That's all I do.
Trust me, pencilers are huge for me.
Yes.
The penciler can either make it a very enjoyable experience or a horrible experience. So.
Well, hopefully it'll be enjoyable.
And Pete gets the tie for our favorite accent on our stream tonight. I'll let you know who the other one is tied with when we get to them. Next up, thanks Pete, is Aaron. Aaron, tell people who you are.
I am the artist on the upcoming Fire Rush series, and I do my own comic book, Godlings, which you can find on Webtoons and on my store. And so I draw and write my own stuff, but I'm the artist for the Fire Rush for Silverline. That's my contribution to Silverline.
That's right. Yeah. And what an interesting story that is, right? The reconnection story. Yeah. I'm so thankful for your attitude on that, because man, we really could have stuck our foot in that one. Next up on my murderer's row is Mike Belcher, who gets the other tie for our favorite accent on the stream.
Yeah. Represent. Hi, I'm Mike. I'm a letterer and production designer, and I also create my own book, Man in the Mask.
Right, which is awesome, and they can find it where?
At Indie Planet. Just look up AMK Comics, and you can also see my webcomic that I've just started at amkcomics.com.
That's kind of what I was shooting for there. Yeah. And for those, what's that?
That I'll go with whichever one.
And for those of you who don't know, Mike's the one who created this cool, sharp-looking banner at the top of the all of the Silverline books. So yeah, which I like quite a bit. And then last but not least is Becca.
Hi guys, I'm Rebecca Winslow. I am the colorist for Friar Rush. Did I say that right?
You did?
Yes, you did.
It's been a long day. I'm also the colorist for Marauder.
Yes.
You got that right too.
2 for 2. Keep going.
Yay, keep me. And I am the anchor for Something Big, which is the name of the comic. Not a secret.
That's right. Sweet. You're batting 1,000, Becca.
Yes. Thank you.
She's like, yes, an analogy I know too.
Woo!
All right, and behind the scenes, we have my son Brett Mann, who is running all the production stuff. He's putting up the images and making sure we're connected where we're supposed to be. And I'm going to try to get up here on the stream as well. I've been trying to do this, the chat, I should say. I've been trying to do this the last couple times, and it seems to be working okay. So I'm going to say, hello, Oven. What's up, Wubba? What's up, Wubba? And hey, Eric, how y'all doing? Hopefully you guys can chime in too a little bit about music, because that's what we're going to be talking about tonight. So, before we talk about the music that we listen to, because I think it's always important to put things in perspective. So what I want to do is we'll just go around the clock here and talk about your background. So for instance, I was raised in a house that listened to a lot of country music. My mom and dad were country music fan. My mom was an Elvis fan. So we listened to, and when I say country, I mean like legit country, not like the modern country that sounds kind of like pop rock. I'm talking like the Hank Williams and what's that dude that sang Johnny Horton and stuff like that. So
Charlie Pride.
What's that?
Charlie Pride.
Yeah, that
My dad loved Charlie Pride.
Exactly that, right? And that's the kind. I mean, we watched Hee Haw every Saturday night. Every Saturday night, that was a family thing. We watched Hee Haw, and my parents cooked us my parents fried chicken every Saturday night, and we watched Hee Haw. That was just that was kind of what we did. And I hated country music. I hated country music, right? So as I got to forming my own opinions and got into my teen years, I started listening to the radio. Of course, I found a radio station where I lived that played album rock, and I was never a pop guy. And in fact, I'm going to do my best not to go off on pop music tonight, because I don't like it. And there's not very many good things I can say about most popular music. So instead, I'm going to focus on the things that I like. And so I discovered bands like Queen and Aerosmith and Led Zeppelin. They were playing this on this album rock. They were playing. That's what they would do. They just put an out, hey, this is side B of Queen's Night at the Opera. Okay, right? And then they just play the entire album. Unfortunately, they disappeared about the time I was a senior. But that's kind of my music background. So I think, and I say all this to say, I think that we kind of need that for us to kind of say, okay, where did you come from? Where'd you go, Cotton Eye Joe? No, sorry. So where'd you come from with your music, and then how's it? What are you doing today? So that was me. Who wants to go next? Yeah, go ahead, Becca.
Go, Becca. I can go. I kind of grew up with a lot of rock music. My dad was in a band when I was a kid, so I got to go to all of his shows. I didn't actually know that there's any other music outside of his until I was like 5 or 6. But yeah, I listened to a lot of classic rock growing up. My mom was a huge Grateful Dead fan, so a lot of Aerosmith, Metallica, Meatloaf, all of that. When I moved to Bergenfield in high school, they have a huge music program there, and every single one of my friends were in garage bands. So it was a lot of heavy metal and ska and all different types of music. So my playlist is really random. I listen to a lot of Irish punk music and ska mostly because of that, and classic rock.
So what are you saying? Ska?
Ska, S-K-A, yeah, like Mighty Mighty Boston's, a lot of trumpets.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
I'm gonna have to look that one up. Yeah, I'm not aware of that. Okay, really cool, very cool. All right, who's next?
I'll go next. I'm probably one of the older or the oldest one here in the group. So I was raised, my parents really didn't listen to a lot of music. When my dad did, it was country. Um, but I was raised in the 60s and graduated in 1977. So I was there right there when all the really, really great classic rock was happening, the Summer of Love and all that stuff. So, I was raised on Deep Purple, Cream, Jefferson Airplane, Rolling Stone, Beatles, uh, groups like that. My older brother, introduced me into the world of rock and roll. So I'm very, very much an old-fashioned rock and roll chick. Um, Although I've evolved as I've gone along, and my son uh, introduced me to a lot of metal bands, and I actually like Metallica is my all-time favorite band. So I'm a 61-year-old Metallica fan. Guns N' Roses and
Very cool.
Disturbed. I think the Disturbed version of
Sound of Silence.
Sound of Silence is the
Ooh.
best version it's ever been made. It just raises chills on my spine when I hear that.
I heard that song for the first time this week. I know Sound of Silence, but the Disturbed version, because my mum's been playing it non-stop. She's just
Doesn't it just make the hair stand up on your arms?
It's a great song, but yeah, it's done really well.
Yes,
Yeah,
and
it's
I
done
like when I'm creating. I have all kinds of playlists.
Wait. Not to the playlist yet.
Okay. I have playlists depending on my mood, which is blues playlists. I have fast and fun. I've got melancholy playlists, but those aren't for creating. Those are for other things.
Yeah. Okay, so who else? Your music learning.
Music back. I'd have to say let me see here. We never listened to a lot of music in our house. Mostly, I guess, rock or whatever. I got into Queen. Strange enough, I'd have to probably say my first big musical thing was like Saturday morning cartoon theme songs. As music as a kid, like that, like if you would have asked me like what's your favorite, it's like, well, theme song of Thundercats, let's not be stupid. And but it's more than I started getting into bands and stuff, and then I got into metal and heavy metal, and then I go opposite. I'm a big fan of Phil Collins, and then I like a lot of Celtic music and stuff. And lately I have fallen out of the American metal scene, and I have discovered the European international metal scene.
It's huge.
Which just took heavy metal from America and just took it into the stratosphere. I mean, and I had nothing against American musicians, but when you hear some of the bands overseas, holy wow, yeah, they're really talented.
Well, do you like Rammstein?
What?
Do you like Rammstein?
Not as much, but I can tell you a whole bunch of other bands that I like. Rammstein is good. Well, we'll get to naming bands. I think that's
later. That's later.
Yeah. Very cool. Who's next? Somebody jump in.
I'll go next.
Okay.
Typically, the stuff my dad listened to was the stuff I didn't want to listen to. What About Bob? Little phrase about there's two people in the world, those who like Neil Diamond and those who don't.
Yeah.
Because of that. My dad that was a nonstop cassette that, let's just put it this way, mysteriously disappeared.
More than once?
More than once. But it made me start appreciating other music because it really drove me away from that type of music. I'm a big metalhead, hard rock and punk. I really got into punk.
Wow.
But as I've got
punk, like Black Flag and
Ramones,
really okay.
Oh yeah, I got the whole gamut. So
wow, cool.
But I go. I also kind of gravitated towards storytellers, but I can also listen to Bob Dylan and really Johnny Cash. As I've gotten older, I probably listen to more Johnny Cash.
Wow, interesting.
So it's a very, very little bit of music as I've kind of accumulated over the years.
Yeah. That's very cool. I gotta be honest, Mike. I would not have pictured you as a punk.
I may not have been in the crowd, but I certainly appreciate the music. Some days you just have one of those days where you just, the heck with everybody, and that's the kind of music you want to listen to.
Yep.
Just kind of angry and just kind of noisy and just
Well, Mike's always looked like a troublemaker to me. I mean, just look
exactly.
at the guy.
Yeah. Wouldn't have thought I'd be, working mosh pit in the 90s, but I was, believe it or not. So.
All right. So, Curtis, did you talk? Did you say? Yeah.
No.
Tell us,
So,
tell us.
So my parents' background was the music that I kind of grew up listening to around them was maybe like sometimes like folk music, like Jim Croce and stuff like that. Which at the time I didn't like, but now I think is amazing. And kind of soft rock and things like that. And then I had, when it was, a teenager, I basically was trying to find my musical identity, when you're in school. So it's like, well, what am I going to be? What am I going to dress like? What am I going to listen to? So at first I thought metal was going to be my bag. So I remember I had a friend let me every cassette from of Metallica up to that point, and they just went on like this binge of Metallica. But unfortunately, it wasn't quite my bag, So what ended up being kind of my niche is I actually really like I like all types of music, but really I like hip hop and rap ended up being my thing during the early '90s, late '80s, and specifically that genre because of the political content, the storytelling. There was a certain depth, which is kind of funny looking back. That kind of ties back to the folk music, I guess. My parents had the social commentary, which only now I see that. So my main bag is that. Like I like DMX, Nas. I like other things like Faith No More, which is not hip hop. I like the Rolling Stones.
Wow.
And Roland got me into Dio. I like Sabbath,
Yeah.
but Roland said you got to know about the other side of Sabbath called Dio. What is Dio? He said, he talks about dragons and fire and so thanks to Roland, I got into Deep Purple and the Dio part of Sabbath. So I remember Roland influenced me there. So yeah, it's kind of all over the place. I think the funny thing is one time my dad got into my car when I was in high school and he was listening to my mixtape and it was just insane. It was like really hard gangster rap and then it switched to Enya and then it switched to AC/DC and he was like, who is this kid? It's the
Are you
weirdest-
mixed up?
Well, the way I always say it is my ethnic background is I'm Japanese, Irish, and English. So you show me what a Japanese, Irish, English person is supposed to act like, and I'll follow that. But I've had to kind of navigate that 100% on my own. That's my story.
Yeah, and you're sticking to it, right?
Yeah, I'm sticking to it.
So the only one that didn't talk was Pete, right?
Yeah,
I mean, probably you're across the pond, so we know all you listen to is the Beatles, right? I'm just kidding, Pete. Go ahead.
I think it's about the only thing I don't listen to. I don't know. Music was never really a big thing when I was growing up. Right, my parents weren't really particularly musical, so I just sort of listened to what was ever on the radio. And when I was, I guess, of that age, we had this thing in the UK called garage music, which was like dance music, sort of crossed with hip hop and all sorts of things, which was really popular when I was, like 18, 19. But I listened to literally anything from, I don't know, AC/DC through to Adele, and literally there's nothing I don't listen to. Perhaps you guys have this real heavy metal thing, which I discovered when I was over there.
Yeah.
That's odd enough. There was a band I came across called Five Finger Death Punch.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Hey, they were really cool. It was because when I was working in the city, I was working with this guy, older guy. He must be in his late 40s, early 50s, and we were just discussing one day and said, "What sort of music are you into?" I was like, "Oh, this and this." And so, "What about you?" He said, "I really like this band called Five Finger Death Punch," and he was the whitest, most middle class guy. I was like, "What on earth is that?
What kind of name is that, right?
What are you listening to? What sort of guy are you? What person are you?" And then a few years later, I came across one of their tracks on or something. I was like, they're pretty good. They're not what I thought.
If they're within 200 miles, my daughter and her fiance go to their concerts all the time.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, they're all right. But no, I listen to anything. I'm really into a guy called Jerry Cinnamon at the moment. He's a Scottish guy, and if you get a chance to just listen to some of his music, it's really cool because it's stuff that sort of tells a story.
Yeah,
things about where he's come from and the life he's had, and that's why I like rap music. Rap music that talks about their life before they made their money. That's what's interesting.
Yeah.
Not once they've made the money and they've got the house and they've got very little left to sing about. But that sort of stuff, it's really interesting because that's stuff I've not experienced as a life I can't experience. So that's anything basically.
And I have to say that you know, I'm not sure admire is the right word, but I do because I am very much not broad in my musical taste. I am not. And you know, people have tried, well, why don't you? Like, no, I really don't care. I don't like it. I don't want to listen to it. I this is what I like. I know what I like. This is what I want. And I don't like anything else. So people like you who can listen to a broad spectrum, you know, I kind of have an appreciation for it because it's like, yeah, I'm sorry, I cannot. You turn the top 40 radio on, and I start getting violently ill. You know?
I did think it was interesting that he was talking about we came to America in heavy metal. I'm like, yeah, but so much metal came from Europe, like Iron Maiden and stuff.
Oh yeah.
So you guys actually gave us a lot of that stuff.
Yeah.
Your country, England, and stuff. So yeah.
Well, I think probably it has to do, you know, a lot of metal is, you know, the roots of metal, of course, are in blues and rock. And there's very much the whole rebellious attitude.
Exactly.
Which, if that's not America, what is? You know,
I know.
I
It
mean,
connects with us.
You know, that we're all about. Yeah, sorry, you can't tell me what to do. America's still the young spoiled brat of a country, right? Sorry, you can't tell us what to do. We're a country. Right. So the other thing, which my son just reminded me of, we'll get into one of the other things that I discovered, and we'll talk. I'll probably post links and stuff. Is really weird music. Okay, when I say really weird music, I mean stuff that's funny stuff like Dr. Demento. Okay, Dr. Demento was a disc jockey. It probably goes back to the 50s, and he just played really weird songs. Pete, I saw you make somebody. Do you know who Dr. Demento is? Okay, so Dr. Demento is just a disc jockey, okay? But he played, and you've probably heard some of the tunes he's played. He's played things like Ray Stevens, The Streak. He played Weird Al Yankovic, anything about Weird Al Yankovic, right? But there's lots of really, really weird, strange songs like that I just, for some reason, have a fascination for. There's a song called, you know, Dead Puppies, which is just as funny as can be, right? You think, how could a song called Dead Puppies be? Anybody heard of Dead Puppies?
No, I think that's when we lost the YouTube.
Oh, Barb has! Woohoo! Yeah.
It sounds like something I would like.
Oh, Becky, you would. It's so funny. It's just like dead puppies aren't much fun. It's like they don't come when you call them, right? Anyway, it's Dr. Demento is just, and it's not like a certain style of music, so it's not like rock or hip hop, or it's just weird songs. So yeah, I discovered that, and the way I had to listen to Dr. Demento, he came on, I want to say 10:30 on like a Sunday night, and I had to sneak out to the shed, right where my dad kept the radio out in the shed, and I would have to sneak out of my house and sit in the shed and was surrounded by, you know, tools and smelly stuff, and just sit there and listen to Dr. Demento for an hour and sneak back into my house. That was the only way I could listen to Dr. Demento. And probably my favorite song at the time was a song called "They're Coming to Take Me Away."
Oh, right? Yes.
I know that one too.
Yeah, which, you know, a lot of people have heard that one. And I used to go around, and my parents had heard that one too. And then my mom was like, "How do you know that song?" I'm like, "I heard it on the radio," which is true. It's completely true, right? I just didn't say I heard it on the radio when I snuck out to the shed. Okay, so, you know, I think all this is kind of important. Like I said earlier, it's just kind of because we're going to talk about the things that we listen to as we create, and I think I think our backgrounds influence some of what we do. So before we get to still our list, Barb, I know you're itching. Let's talk about. Do you think it's how important is listening to music to you while you create? And then maybe a part two of that is, do you think it should be important for others? Someone take that.
I guess I'll start. I don't necessarily need to listen to music while I work. I just need noise. I'm not used to not being in like a working, like having other people around me. I'm used to that. So being alone, I like the voices and the company that kind of like push me forward. But I feel like everybody's different in how they work. I don't think I can say it's important for other people to do it. I just know what works for me and I stick to that.
Yeah. By the way, Barb, Paul Carter says, "Hey, Barb." He says, "When You're Evil is my fave," which is probably, I don't know that one, but that's probably a Dr. Demento's song, because Herrenberg listed off a couple of really good ones. So yeah.
Paul is an ElfQuest fan.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah.
Hopefully he's about to be a Divinity fan.
I hope so.
Yep.
All right, I'll go next.
Okay.
You know, I have friends, especially my cousin Terry Beatty. They like to listen. They like to have the TV on or have old movies or TV shows.
Hang on, Barb. Time out. So I just noticed the stream, and we're not sharing any art. So, Becca, are you arting?
Arting.
You arting? Okay. Becca, toss your stuff up there. Let's get your stuff on the screen. Sorry, I just happened to notice that. We've been 30 minutes and I'm just now noticing that there's no art on the screen. Brett, that's your job, buddy. You're supposed to tell me, hey, is anybody going to share? All right, so they take care of that. Barb, you get back to. Yeah, I'm sorry for interrupting you.
Oh, that's fine. Every person has to kind of decide what they're most comfortable with or what they're inspired to do, whether they have to have complete silence. Like I know some writers have to have complete silence or it's distracting. Some artists like to watch TV or old movies while they're creating. I only listen to music some of the time when I'm creating. Most of the time, I listen to audiobooks because my brain runs too fast. Doing art isn't enough to keep it fully occupied. So I have to listen to books on tape as I ink.
Yeah. Somebody else.
Oh, she's done? Okay.
Go for it, Aaron.
Are we all going to have to start speaking with punctuation? And I'm going to I do that when I ink. Period.
Yeah, when I it's funny, I do listen to some music. The thing is, I'm very much an album. I listen to albums instead of just like random music. And sometimes why that backfires on me is I get caught up in my work and I realize I'm on like the third go around of the album, so I have to I have to chuck it. So I'm like Barbara. I listen to some podcasts. I listen to videos on YouTube. There's a guy who talks about comics and news and stuff. So I listen to that audio stuff. But I don't know. I'm pretty eclectic too. I mean, lately I think when I've been working, I've been listening to the soundtrack of Xanadu because I'm a big Olivia Newton-John fan. So I'm like, okay. So like again, I'm all over. I'm just like that totally works. Yeah. So it just kind of all over. And I mean, I think music can definitely help. Depends on what you're doing art wise. But I think it could definitely, I mean, to me, it helps sometimes set the mood.
Yeah.
Or get it in there. So yeah.
Cool. Curtis?
Yeah, sure. Yeah. I kind of echo the sentiments of Barb and Aaron. I mean, I actually have like a specific category of Netflix shows that I can watch where I kind of pay attention, but I don't fully pay attention. So there's a certain movies or TV shows like that. But music, I think, is important. I mean, I kind of feel like as I'm listening to music when I'm drawing or what have you, it's almost like the soundtrack to what's on the paper, you know? Yeah. And I remember there was this really cool manga years ago that the guy actually put the soundtrack in the caption. So you would read it and it would say like, okay, play this song at this panel here, and then the next page,
That's
So-
kind of
so it's
cool.
That's
Yeah,
really
Yeah.
cool.
it was kind of a cool idea, but I kind of feel like you're kind of composing the soundtrack, and in the back of my mind, I have that kind of playlist. So for me, it's that soundtracks themselves, like orchestral stuff, is good because you don't really have to focus so much on the lyrics. But I do listen to podcasts and audiobooks because
Yeah.
it's kind of multitasking. I get to absorb information, while I'm drawing.
Oh,
Kind of
absolutely.
my thing. Yeah.
Yeah. Royal Airship says, I can do any kind of work when listening to Gaelic Storm. And Wubba Fett says, music is life when I'm drawing. Need it to help slip into the zone.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, no, I can't listen to. I can't have anything on. I can't listen to. If I'm, it depends what stage I'm at. If I'm doing layouts and roughs, then I need complete silence because
Really?
I have to really concentrate on the layouts of the most difficult stage for me.
Yeah.
So I need to really concentrate. Once I start penciling, then yeah, I'll have some music on. Inking, probably the same. I don't tend to put a TV on because I find that distracts me from. I have to watch it. I might have
Yeah.
The Simpsons on in the background, so I've seen them 4,000 times each.
Yeah.
So I don't need
Yeah.
to watch it. But yeah, I'll once I'm penciling, and then I'll put a play track on, or I'll listen to the Michael Rosenbaum podcast. The guy who played Lex Luthor in
Sure.
Smallville.
I know the name. Yeah.
Yeah, he has a really good podcast. He gets
What does
he
he
gets
talk
really good.
about? What does he talk about?
He gets different actors and producers and
Oh, cool.
people on. He basically talks to them, and he talk about mental health quite a lot.
Oh, wow. That's
I
cool.
think he has his own mental health things he
Ah.
works on. But yeah, no, that's really cool. And he gets all the Smallville. I love Smallville. I grew up in
Yeah.
Smallville,
I
so
do
he gets
too.
everyone on, and they chat about that. But
So
yeah,
why is it-
or film soundtracks.
Oh, yeah.
So the best ones are like Lord of the Rings and The Hobbit. I can just I put those on, and that's cool.
Yeah, yeah. So why is it you think that the music distracts you when you said you need the quiet? What is
Yeah.
it that it? What is it? I guess what I'm fishing for is maybe how does it distract you? What do you find yourself doing if you happen to? You find yourself playing air guitar or?
I definitely don't.
Don't do that.
No, I don't know. It just
It's just your brain.
I'm not 100% focused on trying to figure out the story, how the story will flow through the page. I say it's only the layouts and the rough stage.
Sure. Where you need your brain.
Yeah, well, I need to focus on what I'm doing. How I don't know how people do it when they have the music on off, it's blaring. But it's hard enough when I've got family around.
Yeah.
I want to concentrate on my own thing. But,
So all right, well, that's actually an interesting question. So if you're trying to do layouts and you have family around, how do you block that out? Do you block it out with white noise maybe?
Yeah, sometimes.
I wonder if that's racist in today's. Sorry, it's white noise, right? You know what I'm talking about.
Having. I have no choice. I just got to get my head down and try and.
Okay, I got you.
Focus on it. Yeah.
So you can't block out that noise with another.
I don't have.
Kind of
I can't. At the moment, I don't have my own room to work in, so I have to
Uh-huh.
work in like I'm working at the living room, the back of the room.
Yeah.
During the day, once everyone goes back to work, it's fine because
Yeah.
everyone's working from home at the moment.
Right.
You've got people in different rooms doing this basically for their work. So it's usually quite quiet, but you still got people talking in the background, and you just have to get on with it. That's life for the moment.
It is. It is. Hello, T. Josh on Twitch. How you doing? We're talking about music and creating today. I think the only one who had addressed this question is Mike. Mike, you want
Absolute silence when I write, but when I draw, the pencil is like the arm on a record player. The music has to start. But I have to concentrate when I write. I have to have absolute silence, no fans, no TV, nothing. I have to sit there and it's just me and the keyboard trying to figure things out. But I can't draw, a smiley face without music. It really sets the tone for me. It's kind of just, like I said, it's like a record player. You just as soon as you put it down, I have to have noise.
Yeah.
It actually keeps me focused on the page. It keeps me, because if I turn it off, I find myself meandering out in the room. So the music actually keeps me going.
Cool.
So after you're done writing, you throw on Neil Diamond to get the artwork done.
I really need to have some good emotion going on towards something I really hate. So yeah.
Yeah, I want to see a comic drawn by him with Neil Diamond in the background. I want to see that.
A lot of dark lines, a lot of fake lines. It probably wouldn't be very happy, but I'll give it a try once, a little 24-hour comic or something.
Yeah.
I'll have to do that. I'll think about doing about that.
Yeah. Okay, so before I move on to the next question, Paul has a question that's a little bit off topic, but certainly it's a topic of our topic for tonight. Certainly it's a topic of comics. So I want to maybe touch on it just a little bit, but let's don't dwell there a long time. He says, so what effect do you guys think DC leaving Diamond will have on the industry as a whole? Anybody get, like I said, because we could probably sit and spin here for a long time. But let's just anybody want to briefly toss in some comments?
Wow, that's an entire stream topic.
It is, I know.
Wow. I think
but it was a question asked, and I don't want to ignore it.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, to me, I would think it would hopefully be better for the industry to actually break the monopoly a little bit.
Yeah.
That's my viewpoint. I know some of the other background of why it's bad, but I just see it as like, no, I can see that going good. And I mean, if it doesn't work out, I'm sure Diamond would take DC back or something. I mean, I don't think it's like they, no, we will never talk to them again.
Either going to be a fantastic experiment that works and helps to broaden the marketplace with other companies, or it's going to be a spectacular failure, and it's just going to take time to find out.
Yeah. I tend to sort of be in agreement with those general ideas. I think that Diamond has had I don't say this out of anger for Diamond, because they were the last man standing. So it's not like Diamond set out to destroy the world, destroy the distribution world. It's just that they were the last man standing in the 90s, right? So, but I do think it's been a problem. It's certainly developed into a problem, because they're the only outlet to comic shops, and so I just think I think competition for Diamond is a good thing. I mean,
they set the rules right now.
Yeah, and Barb, you probably remember this too. I mean, when I first got into comics, there were at least a dozen distributors.
Well, I live here in Madison, Wisconsin, and that's Capital City Distribution. Yep. I knew the owners. I would go to all their shows.
Milk Greep, John Davis. Yep.
They are awesome people. Yeah, I really miss them.
I do too. I miss Cap City. In fact, I was going through some pictures the other day for the Throwback Thursdays. So y'all send me pictures if you don't have them, if you haven't already. And I found one at a Cap City show that I did in New Orleans. So I miss Cap City. Wubba says, unless the other distributors becomes more inclusive to indies and other companies, he doesn't see it making a dent really. And I guess that's possible. If these new distributors are DC only, then I mean, really, what have we gained except just a secondary outlet for DC?
Yeah,
exclusive outlet.
Exclusive outlet, yeah.
If it's not another option for independents to go to these, I don't see the big impact it's going to have.
So I think that I think it has the potential to be really good in creating some more competition, but it's we're all kind of on that let's wait and see what happens. Okay, so back to music. So several things popped up here and you guys talking about this thing. What about, let's talk about the differences briefly before we kind of get to some of our specifics. Podcast and music, right? These are two different things, and then podcast and music and then instrumentals, right? They all kind of a little bit different. Who wants to talk about some of the differences of those as it affects you?
It depends on how much attention you want to pay.
Yeah.
If you're like, you just want some background music, I've got a whole playlist of soundtracks, movie soundtracks, and it's just, it's instrumentals, and it's just easy to have it on in the background while you're concentrating. But if you're doing something that doesn't require your entire focus, then a podcast or an audiobook is perfect.
Okay.
Yeah. The
Yeah, I
podcasts are so. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, go. That's all right. Cool.
It's like podcasts are so new. I mean, I haven't started listening to podcasts in the last few years. There was always music, and the TV I would watch would be like old '80s sitcoms like Cheers or Family Ties or whatever,
Cheers
because
is a
I've
good one,
seen
yeah.
them, and you could just throw them in the background and you need to watch them, and you could just pay attention. But getting into podcasts, sometimes they work for me, and sometimes I lose track of what they're saying, and then pretty soon I'm like, I don't know what they're talking about, and I'll click it back to music. So even when I'm drawing, I'll lose track of what they're talking about. I'm like, I don't know. So yeah, I'm still getting used to listening to podcasts. So it's mostly TVs or stories or music and stuff. I do listen to some soundtracks with no words, but most of my stuff have words in them when I listen to them. So.
Yeah. About the distribution, Herrenberg said 2 different new comic book days each week brings more people into the stores. And then also we're going to see what Alterna can do, because I don't know if y'all know this, Alterna is starting their own Alterna distribution.
Oh, I think I heard that.
Yeah, so if we've got more than one new comic book day a week, it brings more people into the store. That's an interesting thought.
Yeah.
And Eric Dotson says it's a little hard to ink while I'm banging my head listening to metal. Tommy says, "Hey guys, hope all's well." Tommy, woohoo!
Tommy.
Wubba says Silverline should be the first to give it a try, an indie try with the other distributors. And I will say this, Wubba, once we reach that point, absolutely, we are going to reach out to anyone who will carry our comics. So and you can bet I have it bookmarked on my my browser, the news announcement for those 2 new distribution places. And someone said that they'd heard there was a 3rd one coming up. I haven't got the information on that, but
It'd be great because we're growing a hand over fist.
Yeah. I think so. And Royal Airship says, could podcasts be the AM radio of the future? Well, that's kind of interesting. That's
I could see that.
Thought. Yeah. All right. So who else wants to chime in? Podcast, music.
Yeah, podcasts. Podcast is something I choose to listen to. So it depends who's on it. So I will tend to listen to the podcast when I know I can go slowly on my work. I'm not rushed to do it because I can stop and listen to what's going on. Whereas the music, I just tend to press shuffle, and what plays. It's no biggie. So yeah, the difference is whether I choose to listen to it or not, I think.
Yeah.
I kind of think it has to do, a lot to do with energy. It's like, because I have that martial arts background, it's like there's a lot of interesting things that dovetail into art and creation, stuff like that. And that idea of, like, nowadays people say food is medicine, well, like music is energy, like vibration is energy, and even in the, not to go too far off, but even in like the martial arts I do, the highest level set of techniques has to do with tones that you create, because the tones create vibrations which affect your inner organs. And if anybody's done singing, they know about putting tones in different parts of their body, So I kind of treat music like that. If I'm tired and I need to kind of be ramped up, I'll listen to something kind of like hip hop or something kind of strong. If I need to kind of zone out, something more instrumental, So I kind of treat it as a supplement to whatever I'm trying to do, and it's cool, with digital content, there's just so many options. It's amazing nowadays,
Yeah, it is amazing the options that we have.
Yes. I just zoned out.
That's okay. Anybody else?
I listen to podcasts. I also listen to a lot of stand-up. So I listen to stand-up.
Yeah,
like
I listen to
comedians.
podcasts from by comedians, and if I'm getting sick and tired of just like only listening to music, I'll switch it up with either stand-up or podcasts that are humorous.
Yeah. So when you listen to stand-ups, do you find that that's distracting? Because and I'm asking because
I don't watch it. I kind of put it on in the
But
background.
don't you miss some of the comedy that? Because I find stand-up comedians fun to watch, but some of what is attractive to me about stand-up comedians is their facial expressions and the things they do with their body language, right?
I grew up on stand-up comedy and watching it, and I got really big into it. So there's not that many new ones I haven't seen yet, because the second it comes out, I watch it. So I'm like rewatching old stand-up I've seen 1,000 times.
Do you do stand-up comedy?
Me?
Yeah.
Oh God, no! I have horrible stage fright. Are you kidding? No. I'd probably fall off the stage. Like, come on.
But that's all part of your act, right, Becca?
Yeah. Yeah, klutzy Becca just falls off stage.
Hey, Dempsey, what's up? Dempsey is a former student of mine from Full Sail, and he says, "What's up, party people?"
Hey.
Tommy says he can watch TV while he works, no problem. Can you tell? Yeah, because he's watching us right now. Hey, Tommy. Ehrenberg says favorite instrumental band is Shadowy Men on a Shadowy Planet, and did the Kids in the Hall theme song. So
yes.
Anybody else want to address podcasts, music lyrics? Yeah, my only thoughts about it is I really can't listen to podcast. I mean, obviously, most of what not being an artist, most of what 90% of what I do requires me to be able to focus, and I can't focus if I'm listening to a podcast. Because my brain is focused on what they're saying and not on what I'm trying to type or read. I can't read and listen to a podcast, and I certainly can't write and listen to a podcast. On the odd chances I'm doing some art stuff, like fixing the PDFs for print, or cleaning up some of the artwork, prepping them for colors, particularly some of the older black and white stuff that I prep for Barb or Becca. Then I can listen to something with words, but for the most part, no. Okay, so now let's talk about, hey, Kasisi, what's going on? Y'all, Kasisi is another former student of mine, and he's got a cool rockin' comic project that I think he said he just sent to Kablam, so anxious to see that. Becca Wubba says, have you heard Joe Coy yet?
Oh, of course. Yeah, I love Joe Coy. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. He's great.
Okay, so let's talk about let's talk about some specific music now. So you sit down at your table to create something. Tell me what you're creating, right? So that we can kind of be in the mind what you're doing, or inking, or as Pete said, you're doing layouts or pencils or whatever. Tell me what you're doing, and then tell me what you're listening to. Tell me a couple of things. And if you've got some playlists prepped, let me know, or maybe send those to me in our Facebook chat, and I'll post those to the streams so that people can go listen to those playlists as we're talking about. Yes. Who wants to go first? Don't everyone jump in at the same time.
I'll go first. All right. Well, like I said before, about 75% of the time I listen to books on tape, and those are biographies or high fantasy. But when I do listen to music, depends on what the mood is or the mood of the book. I'm usually inking or coloring. I have several playlists. I have an alternative playlist, which is alternative music. I have blues. I have fast and fun songs. I have melancholy. I have soft and slow, and I have soundtracks. But the one that I listen to the most is called Grit and Grind. That's what I call it.
And do you have a link for that? Is this like a private, personal?
Well,
playlist?
it's a playlist on my
Spotify.
No, unfortunately, It's not on mine. It's just songs that I've collected, and a lot of the songs I've collected are from TV shows. I'll be watching a TV show and they'll play a particular song, and I love it. And I'll have to go online to TuneFind and look for it. And a lot of them I have found were from Lucifer or Blacklist.
Too.
Yeah,
Cool.
Lucifer has a ton of great
Yes, yeah,
music.
it does. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And the music, why I call it grit and grind, is it's all a little dark and gritty. I especially like songs from Blues Sarceno is one of the bands that I like. Mumford and Sons,
Mm-hmm.
Florence and the Machine,
Mm-hmm.
Guns N' Roses, and Metallica, obviously Metallica. Kaleo, AC/DC, El King, Audio Slave, and of course, this is like he's quintessential across the board. Everybody loves him, Johnny Cash.
Yeah.
Yep.
So those are, and there's a lot of them. I have like 144 songs in my grit and grind list, but a lot of them come from those bands. And again, I usually just run across them by accident. There'll be a TV show on, and it'll have a really intense scene, and the music that they're playing in the background will catch my attention, and I gotta find that song, and I'll track it down, and then I'll download it off of iTunes and add it to my list.
Cool. Hey, Pete, kick Becca off. You share your art for a bit.
Let's have a look.
You can always just.
Brett was just sending me a question about that. Yeah, I meant to do this about 10 minutes ago, but I didn't. No, I'm just being like, I was trying to like every 15 minutes, but I can't always keep up with the clock when we're doing this. All right, so who's next? Curtis, you sent me your list. So what's this? I'm about to share your first soundtrack, Curtis. What talk about this? All right.
Okay. Yeah, sure. So I kind of have like two playlists. The first one is like instrumental music, which is stuff from like different soundtracks and things like that, and then my contemporary music list. So like my instrumental stuff, I really like this composer named Ramin Djawadi. He did the Game of Thrones soundtrack and Pacific Rim and a lot of stuff like that. And Hans Zimmer, I really like. I really like his work. I think he's phenomenal. So those are kind of some of the things, and then even just other instrumental stuff like random things like the Nat King Cole Trio or stuff like that. Another composer I really like is a Japanese gentleman named Yuichi Sakamoto, and he did some great soundtracks like the one with David Bowie, Merry Christmas, Mr. Lawrence. And he's also attributed with being the first guy that created techno music back in the 70s using synthesized stuff. So he's pretty amazing.
It's not letting me post your list, and I don't know why.
Huh.
Yeah.
Maybe it knows it's Curtis's list.
Exactly. Too confusing.
Let me try to see if it'll post the second one. It would not take
Sure.
the first one at all, though.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, the second one is like a lot of the contemporary music I like.
Okay.
Pop and funk and rock and lots of stuff. One of my favorite artists that I like to listen to, he's out of Providence, Rhode Island. His name's Sage Francis. If you guys haven't heard him, or I know Pete was saying something to the effect of rap music that kind of tells a life story. He's phenomenal. He's this big bearded white guy from Providence, Rhode Island, and he's so well respected in the hip hop scene that like people like Public Enemy, groups like that have a lot of respect for him. And he doesn't try and put on any airs or anything like that, just talking about normal life and things like that. And so Sage Francis is probably like one of my favorite artists nowadays. But yeah, so that's kind of the gist of most of the stuff I listen to, and what's on the playlist. But like we were talking about, it all depends on what energy I'm trying to get when I'm working that day. Yeah.
Cool. Kasisi said Hans is great. Mark Isham is good as well if you're into movie composers. Thank you for sharing it. Wubba shared his list. Thank you. Obviously, we're not going to check it out on stream because, someone will give us one of those copyright marks. But we'll go check it out afterwards. Who else?
Okay.
Okay.
Go.
I know I'm always classic at speaking when other people tend to speak. I like plan it. But
Yeah, what was
most
it?
of the time I do have some music I listen to when I start drawing. Especially with my comic Godlings, I do actually have some theme songs. One particular theme song I listen to that puts me in the mood to when I'm what I'm writing about.
Mm.
And sometimes when I'm drawing about, and I'll listen to that to kind of like get those sort of ideas of what I want to go. I listen, like I said, I'm a Phil Collins fan, and he just remastered everything, so I got a Phil Collins collection, and I listen to that. The other,
I should tell you, I'm biting my tongue about the Phil Collins stuff.
oh, that's okay. he's a he's I know a lot. I think
Really
he's either love or hate sort of guy. But a lot of the bands I usually listen to, I put on a lot of Nightwish. Um, uh, and that's a Finnish band, symphonic metal Finnish band. Dragon Force. I'm a huge. That's why I started with some Dragon Force.
Yep.
Huge Dragon Force. I actually got to see them in concert.
Oh, that's
last year.
cool.
Yes,
I'm very aware of them. That's a band that Brett, my son Brett, turned me on to.
Really?
He's like, Dad, there's like all kinds of military songs, and I'm like, that's kind of cool. So military military metal. I don't know that's what you call it.
Oh yeah, Sabaton is another one you probably heard of. Sabaton.
That's probably is that who it was, Brett?
Sabaton is a military history.
Yeah, okay. Sabaton is the one I was talking about, not Dragon Force.
And I got to see them in concert right after Dragon Force. I got to see Sabaton and Dragon Force, and that was amazing. Especially when it's like, when was the last time Sabaton came to the United States? 5 years ago. So it's like a shot in the dark to even come here.
Wow.
And and then I listened to some of the other bands, metal bands I listened to. This is a strange band called Von Kanto from Germany. That's an all a cappella metal band.
Wait,
check them out. They're actually they're actually good. Yeah, all voices, one drum.
See,
check them out. They're actually pretty cool.
This is what you need to do. Now you need to. Those are links we need to share here.
Yeah, I'll make a list and they're an interesting band. And my new favorite, there's two. There's a Canadian band called Unleash the Archers, which I love that band.
I'm familiar with them. Yep.
And then the one that I just got into is a band called Love Bites from Japan. That's these five Japanese ladies that just their guitar work is just off the chart. At least to me it is. And they're so different because they wear like these white elegant gowns. So they look really pretty, and then they just go straight power metal. And it's just it's
kind of like baby metal. Have you heard of baby metal?
I've heard of baby metal. They're kind of like that, except they sing all in English. Love Bite sings all in English, which is a rarity for Japanese bands. A lot of them don't, but they do. Yeah. But I've heard of baby metal and all that. So
Barb, if you're Googling at the same time, you should Google baby metal, and it will surprise the mess out of you. It's these tiny little Japanese girls.
Mm-hmm.
There's like 3 of them, and they just dive into this heavy metal. Wow.
Yeah.
You're like, what the heck? What is good?
Cute little teenagers that thrash.
Yeah.
I've seen them.
I think their big song is something like "Gimme Chocolate."
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. But he's also like,
Mike's
especially
like,
Roland.
what you talking about, man?
Roland with Sabaton, I know likes that. They're all the military history.
Yeah.
They did an entire band on the history of Sweden. The latest one was World War One. And I've learned so much history stuff I never knew about just listening to their songs.
Yeah.
Because they'll actually in the booklets do the history of the song and what they're writing about.
Yeah. And I find that so cool.
Yeah, it's such a cool band. So
yeah.
Okay, Becca, you can go if you want to talk.
Becca.
All right. What do I listen to? I guess band wise, like on Spotify, I don't actually create my own playlist because I'm lazy. I just look up already created playlist. I listen to Streetlight Manifesto's radio station on Spotify. Emo Forever, which doesn't actually have a lot of emo songs, but it's my friend suggested it to me because it's a bunch of music we listen to. I did recently get into the Wood Brothers though, which is more country, which is surprising. I don't know. I really do listen to a lot of random stuff. You guys mentioned a lot of my favorite bands as well, and I listen to basically everything. So I
Cool.
don't know. I mean, do you want to know the podcast I listen to?
Well, no, I mean, yeah, I mean, guess maybe if there's certainly if there's a couple that you listen to, like I have to listen to this podcast.
Yeah,
There's some you don't miss.
There's two I do that with. It's one called Sloss and Humphreys on the Road. They're two stand-up comedians.
Okay.
And I'm blanking on the name of the other one. It's an American history podcast. Is how they start it. I'm so bad tonight. I'm so sorry. I can't remember it. The Dollop. The Dollop. That's what it's called.
Okay.
Yeah, they're two comedians where one finds history and does research, and then he reads it out loud to his friend who just reacts to it live, and it's
Yeah. So is this like strange history or like not common knowledge history or just or what?
a little bit of mix of both. Like sometimes, like I think there was one where they're talking about the paper boys who
Yeah.
deliver the papers in the city. They went on strike, so he did his research on that, and he talked about it. It was absolutely hysterical, just the different names of these children. And I'm like, where are these kids' parents? Like this time, like, and it's like so insane to think that it wasn't really that long ago when all of this was happening, and it's a huge culture shock within your own country.
Yeah.
It's pretty funny. I definitely suggested, or that's the word.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry.
Yeah, they were actually paper routes when I was a kid. I never had one, but I knew some of my friends did. So Herrenberg says Sakamoto was one of the founders of Yellow Magic Orchestra. They were the founders of electronic pop in Japan. Number 2 in importance behind Kraftwerk. Herrenberg says, we are concert promoters and we have done several concert presentations for Sage Francis. Great dude. Wubba says, there I listened to Aldois and Band Made from Japan. And Baby Metal did the song Karate with Rob Halford live. Rob Halford, of course, if you don't know, is the lead singer from Judas Priest. Herrenberg says, Japanese bands are awesome. Our favorite is Shonen Knife, celebrating their 40th anniversary, like a female Ramones from Osaka. I think the only band that I ever really listened to, Japanese band that I ever really listened to was, it was a metal band. They did Thunder in the East. Anybody remember that one? Thunder in the East. Loudness. Loudness was the name of the band. Very metal. But yeah. All right, who else? I'll talk then. Oh, somebody, were you about to go, Curtis, again? No, you sure?
No, I'm cool. I'm cool.
All right. Well, no, as I said earlier, I am not one of much variety when it comes to music. I have a tendency. I'm a '70s rock guy, and that's pretty much, for the most part, that's pretty much all I listen to. I do have some other things that I listen to, but they're kin. I listen to melodic metal, some of the stuff from today, and I listen to bluegrass music.
Okay.
Now, when I say bluegrass, I don't mean country. Okay, I have one of my playlists.
Fiddles and everything.
I love fiddles and the
Fiddles
banjo.
and the banjos. I like that.
That's
Depends on my mood.
If they pull out a guitar and electric guitar and some drums, they lose me, because then I feel like I'm listening to country music all over again, and I don't want to go there, right? So I want to hear a fiddle and a banjo and somebody who sounds like they're singing like this, right? That's what I like. Someone tried
Lucky
to
Bottom Boys.
Yes, yeah, exactly. That's exactly it. And the playlist I listen to on Spotify is called oh shoot, I've lost my windows. Where did it go? I'm sorry, I had it right here opened. It's called Picker's Primer, and I will put the link in the chat. And I just what I do for most of these playlists, I just hit play and go. But mostly what I do, so I have there are three playlists that I listen to on Spotify. There's the Picker's Primer, which is the bluegrass music, and then I have one called the melodic / power metal, which is I can't listen to screamo. I can't listen to the screamo metal if they're like that. I just can't do it. I realize that there's a lot of people who like that, but I want to hear people who know how to sing, and I want to hear harmonies, and I want to hear. I like more complicated music, I guess is the word that I'm looking for. It's one of the reasons I always loved Rush. And then I have one of my new favorite bands is a band called Theocracy, and they're a mix between Queen and Rush and maybe Iron Maiden.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, it's very metal. There's one guy who does all the composing, and lots of melody. And I have one just called Theocracy All, and on Spotify that you could just add to your playlist. And I literally just put everything Theocracy on that one and hit play.
Does it cost you to make a playlist on Spotify?
Nope.
Hmm.
No.
I have to put some
Now, when I'm in the mood for more classic stuff, I will just go to YouTube, and I will, yeah, slip there, Curtis. Sorry about that. And I will just type in something like Led Zeppelin full album, Physical Graffiti, right? And it comes up with a playlist, and I just hit play, and it plays through the entire album. I'm a big Led Zeppelin fan. I write to a lot of Zeppelin, and I write to a lot of Theocracy and Neil Morse, because I know the songs well enough that I don't have to stop and listen to them. They don't distract me from my thinking and my writing. They also, prog rock. Neil Morse is prog rock. Neil Morse, for those who don't know, he plays with the drummer who used to play with Dream Theater. And I didn't realize it was called prog rock, which stands for progressive rock. Apparently Rush was one of the Rush and Yes were early prog rock bands, and I absolutely love that stuff. And Neil Morse is one of those. Several comments here. Royal Airship says bluegrass and the old timey tunes are an American heritage, and don't forget Scott plays banjo. He means Scott Wakefield, who is working on Steam Patriots for Silverline. Scott is in the usually participates in the Wednesday stream. Wubba says, I'm sure on Tool it's my number one go-to, especially when I'm starting a new project and need to get settled into it. Tool, I'm not sure what Tool is. It must be a music
band.
What's that?
It's a band. Tool.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah, it's a band.
I was thinking it was like a Spotify or a Pandora or something like that. Sorry about that, Wubba. I do apologize for not knowing Tool. See, I told you, I really am very limited. If I didn't like the grunge stuff, and yeah. I will tell you this: does anybody know who Greta Van Fleet is?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So someone told me you need to go check out Greta Van Fleet, and I'm like, whatever. That's usually what I say when someone says. I'm like, yeah, whatever. If they're not Led Zeppelin or Aerosmith, I don't care. But then I heard a snippet of a song, and I'm like, that's Led Zeppelin. And then I listened to it closely, and I'm like, okay, no, that's not Led Zeppelin. Who the heck is that? It was Greta Van Fleet. And these guys are like 20 and 21 years old. And I mean, big Led Zeppelin fans won't confuse them because they're not Led Zeppelin, right? But if you're not a big Led Zeppelin fan and you play a Zepp song and then a Greta Van Fleet song, I can see how you could easily be confused because they're obviously heavily influenced by Zeppelin. These guys are really, really good. I will confess to having done the same thing to Greta Van Fleet on YouTube a little bit. So let me just listen to Greta Van Fleet. Oh, just let it play, right? Herrenberg says prog rock is fun. Dudes take it very seriously, though. Yeah, and I think I do think prog rock is very serious. They get serious about the way their tunes are built. Wubba says my number 2 is Typo Negative. Herrenberg said, okay, he's talking to his response. Herrenberg says Neil Morse founded Spock's beard. Tool was prog rock like Rush, so yeah, it might be something that I would like. Just more zen and thought provoking. So anybody else?
I've got 2 different playlists. In the morning time, it's got to be more aggressive. In the afternoon, it's more mellow.
Okay.
Morning's nothing but metal and punk and anything I can play that's hard. And then by the evening, like I said, I'm down to Dylan, and Tom Petty, and Johnny Cash. I kind of wind down the day.
Okay.
I'm a huge fan of Mumford and Sons, but I have to split their songs into 2 different playlists. One goes into my grit and grind, and one goes into my alternative because they have a pretty wide range. I actually have a massive range of tastes in songs. I will listen to almost anything but opera, and I listen to classical. I listen to classical too. I like that.
I have listened to classical as well.
And also, although I appreciate it, I just have never been able to get into really heavy rap.
Yeah.
But I appreciate the message that the rap has. I just can't.
Now I know the mixtape to send to Barbara.
So Pedro, and if I mispronounced your last name, I do apologize. I think it's Caicedo. Says, I guess he's listing some bands: Fu Manchu, Eagles of Death Metal, and Caius are some bands to listen to.
Yeah.
So here's a weird thought then. So let's talk about maybe tone a little bit of what you're creating when you create. So that's pretty important for me. I think when I write, it's funny because when I was writing Cat and Mouse in the 90s, I was listening to a lot of Dokken. And for those of you who don't know, Dokken was one of the early 80s, mid 80s hair bands. And their guitar player George shredded. And several of I was listening to Dokken and Queensryche, and that's kind of where I was trying to get to. And several of the stories, story titles in Cat and Mouse are actually story titles, or I'm sorry, are actually song titles from the bands. And I had a couple of fans actually write me and say, "You must be a Dokken fan," because they recognized in a couple of issues. One, you're going to say, "Oh, cool, there's a song like that," but when you get like 3 in a row, like those are 3 Dokken songs, And so I actually had someone write me and say, "You must be a Dokken fan." Yeah, Pedro says George Lynch. Yeah, George Lynch was the guitar player for Dokken, and he was just incredible. Or he is incredible. I don't know if he's still what he does, but yeah, so you could see song titles for me for the story titles, and I actually still do it. What people don't realize is that the 2 issues of Cat and Mouse that have been recently published are song titles from the stuff that I was listening to at the time. And do I intentionally do it? Yes, I do. It's what I'm listening to as I'm creating. And so I search for a title that works for what the story is. But yeah, so that's me. What about you guys?
Depends. If I'm doing something that's kind of an easy type of page and mellow, I'll listen to Nora Jones. She's very bluesy, and if I'm want to listen to something really new, kind of new agey and really, really kind of depressing, actually, I'll listen to the Jesse Stone soundtrack by Jeff Beal. He's got a.
I don't even know what that is. What's
Jesse Stone was. It's a mini series, the reoccurring mini series with Tom Selleck as a small town sheriff.
Really? I'm a Tom Selleck fan.
Oh yeah, it's a great series, absolutely fantastic series. But Jeff Beal did the soundtrack for all of those miniseries, and his music is so evocative of kind of like dreary, moody days, you know. And so I'll play that once in a while.
Yeah, I just happen to remember this. This is from one of the very first panels in the first issue of Cat and Mouse, and you can see he's actually humming a tune there, and those are actually lyrics from a song at the time. Does anybody recognize it?
You can't see it; it's too
Okay,
small.
yeah.
You're gonna have to read it to us, kiddo.
Oh, you can't read it. Oh,
I
it's
think
too
you have
small.
to sing
Yes.
it to us. Is what
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
thinking.
yeah. No, I'm not singing it. The words are "Go again on my own." See, I accidentally put a little bit of tune in it. I hate that.
Yeah.
This is something I actually will do frequently, is have characters humming a tune, singing it. And it's funny because at Full Sail, Pop's got it. Whitesnake. That's absolutely it. Yep. Good job, Pops.
Yeah.
Pops Van Zant popped on and got it. Absolutely, that's right. And you know, at Full Sail, which is wrong. I don't understand why they do that. At Full Sail, they'll tell students, no, you can't use any lyrics at all. You can't, and you actually can legally. You can't do the entire song. Obviously, you can't even do an entire verse, but you can put, like, I can't remember, it was like 7 or 8 words that you can actually use, and you're within your fair use. Legally in your fair use. Of course, Full Sail, I probably shouldn't say that since I'm recording. Full Sail opts for the don't take any chances. You know, don't risk it if you have it. If you have that, then they could come after you, so don't even risk it. But yeah, I was gonna show these. These are the titles for the 2 issues of Cat and Mouse that have just been published. The first one was City of Destruction, and then the second one was Draw the Line. And I forget that you're really big on my screen, but I forget that on there it's going to be
this big.
Yeah. Sorry about that. But yeah, I'll leave. I won't unless someone gets it. I won't talk about where those come from until kind of after the series is done. But yeah. All right. So someone else jump in.
Well, this is something kind of dorky, but of course, that's everything I do is dorky. Is you know, like out here in LA, of course, and I'm sure everywhere, but LA, there's a certain like coffee shop scene where everybody who's writing their script or working on their big project that they're going to pitch is at the coffee shop, taking up way too much space on their laptop, and you know,
yeah,
making a big scene of themselves working on their next big opus.
Yeah.
But it's
Look
kind
at
of funny.
me. I'm a screenwriter.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. You know. So there's that kind of vibe, but sometimes it's cool to go to a coffee shop and just draw and be somewhere else. So, but with the quarantine and stuff like that, now I just go and I make my own coffee at home, and I go to YouTube and type in the search word coffee shop music, and there's.
No, you don't.
I totally do. And it's like just like perfectly relaxing, the most non-offensive music in the world, and I just kind of zone out and draw in the morning and stuff like that. So that's
cool.
Yeah, so it's kind of funny, you know. But that's one of the
that is a coffee shop. Yeah, yeah. Herrenberg, you guess the title. There's Here I Go Again on My Own from Whitesnake, and Pops Van Zant said Dr. Strange uses Rush lyrics in Defenders 45 in his spell, and they give credit to Rush. I don't remember that. That's kind of cool. Herrenberg says we put 2 lines of a Baja song, "Terror Couple Kill Colonel," in our debut issue. Don't get us in trouble, please. Yeah, we won't tell anybody. I do think. I mean, there is fair use, right? You can, as long as you don't produce too much of it, you're not gonna get in trouble.
Do you guys take your music with you on the road when you go to conventions?
That's a good question.
It's all on my phone, so wherever my phone goes.
Yeah.
And do you listen to it in the hotel room, like when you're doing commissions or anything?
Some people listen to it at their table next to you.
Oh,
that's true.
Oh my gosh!
Out of me.
Oh, I cannot stand that.
I've got all my playlists on my iPhone.
Well, Roland, I have to chime in. Do you remember? I remember when Roland was at Malibu, he had his desk, and Roland has his own, as he knows, distinct taste in music. And we had one of our editorial assistant editors, Larry Reynosa, who had a very different set of music ideology, and he would always play the music, and him and Roland would rib each other all day long. And Larry would bring in this big old, we call it a ghetto blaster, but whatever you want to call it.
Jam box is what we call them.
Yeah, he would blare The Cure and The Smiths and you name it. And Roland would always give him hell about it. And he would take it, but he would still keep playing it. But I never know. It was an ongoing battle.
Yeah. Yeah. Again, I am quick to admit that if it's not the kind of music that I listen to, I consider it crap. and I'm okay with that. I can live with that.
Nothing wrong.
Say again, Mike.
Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
I used to have an old boss that I would play music and I wouldn't listen to because I can listen to headphones so long and the headphones started to like hurt my ears, so I gotta take it off, and I listen to this music, and also because I don't want if I'm trying to do something I'm drawing and like the cord gets in the way.
Right.
But I noticed my boss, and I play specific music, his mood would change. And I actually started testing this out and playing different music to see how I would affect him.
That's funny.
And I noticed he'd get kind of happy. And a lot of times he would come out like, what are you listening to? And I think the funniest one is when I put in Jamiroquai. And he's like, because he used to me listening to metal. And he's like, what is going on? What is this? I'm just like, it's just my music or whatever. But I noticed I would affect his temperament. That was entertaining. I actually want to start writing down notes and doing scientific experiments to see how I can affect him.
Yeah.
I used to work at a Japanese restaurant as a waiter, and when the boss was out and we wanted people to finish up closer at the end, we put on thrash metal. So you'd have all these old Japanese people eating, their rice, and also you put on the thrash metal, and they just be like gunning it. And I don't know if it's because the music got them ramped or if they just
eating with the
yeah. So they would just be like foraging. We get them out of there real quick when the boss.
That's hilarious.
I heard somebody say once before, it was like, yeah, I can't eat with heavy metal music going because I eat too fast.
Yeah, I know that.
Which I can kind of see. I guess that would be funny.
Well, there's a lot of comic book artists who are actually also in garage bands.
Yeah.
There was a famous garage band, Seduction of the Innocent, that used to play at San Diego all the time with Bill Mooney and Miguel Ferrer.
Yeah, I never got to hear those.
Oh, they were awesome.
Yeah,
and Phil Lee.
I wanted to.
And there was, do you know who Max Allen Collins is?
I do, yeah.
Ms. Tree, and
Thank you, Ms. Tree, yeah.
And Dick Tracy does a bunch of. He also wrote The Green Mile, and does a bunch of mysteries. Yeah, and he's from Muscatine, Iowa, which is about 14 miles from where I was raised on a farm.
Well, that's kind of cool.
And my cousin Terry Beatty was also from Muscatine. But Max Allen Collins had a garage band called Cruisin', and he actually played at my high school prom.
Wow. It's funny you say that because I find a lot of comic creators also, obviously as creative people, we tend to be creative in a lot of stuff that we do. But I find a lot of comic creators also play musical instruments. So what about it? Barb, what do you play?
I played piano and, get this, drums.
Cool.
I was a drummer.
Cool.
I had the whole drum set, the whole kit and caboodle.
Sweet. Now, do you still have a kit?
No, I do not. When I got little children, I couldn't play anymore, and we were poor as church mice, and I ended up selling my my Ludwig set for Christmas money.
Oh man!
To buy Christmas presents for my kids.
Yep.
No, there were a set of pearls. That's right. There were pearls.
Nice. It's funny because my daughter has a picture. I'm a drummer also, and my daughter has a picture because she asked me some years ago if I could buy the set, what would I want? And I went to the Ludwig website and found it. And I said, that's the set I would want right there. It's a double bass. I've never played a double bass, but I would love to learn. And so she got she has a snapshot of it somewhere. She says, when I get $1 million, I'm going to buy you this set, Dad. And I'm like, oh.
I haven't played in 30 some years. I never played. Yeah.
Yeah. So who else? Who else plays an instrument? I know Becca's an athlete.
Yeah. You would think because my dad was in a band when I was a kid, but I played the flute in elementary school. But that's about it. Like, I know how to do Smoke on the Water on the guitar, but I actually don't. I know.
So
like,
why did you give up the flute?
American Pie came out, and yeah, and I have that type of friend group. So yeah, I no longer play. All my friends are in bands, though. I'm like one of the only one that doesn't play any instruments.
Yeah. So you have a creative. Your friend circle is creative. They're
Yes.
creative people. You do comics and they do music. Yeah.
Yeah. Actually, my one friend's band, they were working with the bassist of Disturbed on their last album.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
Yeah. So I got to meet John. I don't know if he likes me all that much, but
why would he not like you?
I didn't know. I saw him, but it didn't register in my head who he was, and
that's not unusual. He's
Well,
a bass player, for Pete's sakes.
Yeah. I think I asked him if he wanted to see my friend's tattoo, which is located in a specific area.
Oh no!
And got really uncomfortable, and I was like, oh no. And my friends who are in the band, they're like, you're just not going to talk to John anymore. I'm like, that's good.
Wait, so you offered to show your friend's tattoo?
Mm-hmm.
I like how she volunteers her friend.
Well, in fairness, I paid for it as the dare. The dare is, we were 18, kids, that she had to moon anyone at my say because I paid for it and show them. And she's like, please don't make me do this. Yeah.
That's
so that was an uncomfortable. Yeah, that was an uncomfortable meeting, but yeah.
Well, my tats are easily visible in non-embarrassing places.
Yeah. Same. My friend, unfortunately, not so much.
That's what happens when you lose a bet, right?
Yeah, it was when we were like a dare. I dared her to do it, and I was just shocked that she did it. So I was like, I'll pay for it, but this is the reason why I'm paying for it. You have to moon anybody at any time, I say.
That's so funny.
Yeah.
I was in my late 40s before I even got my first tat.
Wow.
Yeah.
I was 16.
You were 16?
Yeah, it was
well,
16 or 17. No. I think it was like my 17th or 18th birthday. My mom got it for me.
Wow, that's cool. I was going to ask you, do you have to have parental permission at that age?
At 16, yeah. I don't remember. I can't remember if it was my 16th or 17th birthday, or 17th and 18th birthday. But right. I just remember she was the one that brought me and paid for the tattoo. The rule was in the house, if you wanted a tattoo, the same one, for more than a year and didn't change your mind, then you're allowed to get it after 16 in my house.
I got one, my first one, my 25th wedding anniversary in Vegas. And you know what they say, what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas. Yeah. But my son bought me my second one.
Wow, that's kind of cool.
Yeah.
No tattoos. I just always assumed if I got people like, why don't you get one? I'm like, because I'd like it. And then a year later, I'd be like, this sucks. I want it off. Yeah. It's just being an artist. I just don't know what I would get that I'd be satisfied with the rest of my life. So I'm just like, nah.
Well, I drew my second tattoo myself. So.
Yeah.
Did you do it yourself?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't put anything on me that I don't draw.
Well, see, that's the thing. I couldn't do that because if I put something on that I draw and then a few years later I get better and look at it, yeah, it doesn't work for me. So I'm like, no, that's like, no, look at that tattoo. I can draw much better now.
So what about the rest of you? Curtis, Pete, Aaron, Mike, play an instrument? Play anything?
Hell no.
Okay,
I
wow.
have no musical talent at all.
That's pretty
I
interesting.
ain't gotten.
It's pretty interesting because I know when we first kicked up the cat and mouse stuff like 2 years ago, Dean plays guitar. Dean Zachary plays guitar. Kevin Gallagly, I think, plays bass. I think he's got his own little garage band going back in I think he's in San Diego or LA somewhere. Is in California. And I know that Jeff Whitey, who I travel when we had these things called conventions, I would travel with him quite a bit, and he plays bass. So I know there's quite a few, and of course I knew about Seduction of the Innocent and so on and so on. So I knew a lot of people.
It's to sing too.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, like we mentioned, I do a little bit of drumming, but the drumming I do ties to the martial arts because we have those it looks like dragons, but they call them lions, where people are under this costume and they do stuff for Chinese New Year, and they can't really see much. So yeah, the drums that you do, the beats you do, tell them which direction to go, or if they're about to plow into somebody, you can switch the drum beat to make them reverse. But that and like some percussion is
Did we talk about that last week a little bit?
Little bit.
Okay.
Bit, yeah.
I was gonna say because I remember us talking. I remember you and I at least having a conversation about some drums and the way they're used to give signals. Wubba said he got his first tat at 16. And he said, I had a former supervisor start humming Christian hymns if she even heard my music, heard a little of my music while walking in my work area. He said, I tried finding middle ground by playing Barren Cross or Striper, but to no avail. And Wubba says he plays guitar, not like Zach Wild, but he plays guitar. So, it's not unusual. I think that that comic book creators also do some other creative thing, and music is certainly a common one. So I think I'm running out of questions about music and what you listen to, but I do have one other question. So one of the things that I find I don't listen to it quite as much now, but one of the things I found that I would listen to frequently are concept albums. For instance, Queensryche did their concept album was what was it called? Empire, I think. And what's that?
Great album.
Yeah, and it was basically one big long story. Another one of my favorites is Planet P Project, which is Tony Carey, who played in did he play Rainbow or Deep Purple? His keyboardist, but his tell it's I think it's a 2-album set, but it's one long story in which it's set in this post-apocalyptic world in which this one boy named Artie has these powers, and everybody's after Artie. It's fascinating, but it's the kind of thing that it's Pink Floyd-ish a little bit in its sound. Not the really weird grooving in a cave with a Pink Floyd, but more Dark Side of the Moon kind of Floyd. But so the music is really easy to listen to, but if you do want to catch the meaning behind it, you've got to listen to all the lyrics and tell the story. I do highly recommend Planet P Project, but again, it's not one of these that you can say I'm going to sit down and I'm going to draw or focus on something and play it. Now you could, and I do, because I know it, but if you've never heard it before, you're going to find yourself wanting to listen to what the story is.
I think the quintessential concept album would be The Who's Tommy.
Oh, that's a great one. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
There's a cool hip hop one called Prince Among Thieves by Prince Paul. He's this famous producer, and it's a whole story. And different rappers play different characters, and then the end battle between the two characters is a rap battle, but it's actually like a gunfight. but Prince Amongst Thieves is really good.
I've been trying to search for that for years.
Oh, it's so good.
I heard it once. My sister played it when we were kids, and we haven't been able to find it. What's the name of that?
Prince Amongst Thieves by Prince Paul is the producer. Yeah, it's great. It's a really fun album.
Yeah, I've listened to some really Unleash the Archers, which I think Roland listens to.
I've heard
the last album, Apex, was a concept album. I didn't even realize it, and then I listened to some videos where the lead singer she explained the whole story. I just didn't even realize it was a concept album, and then they have a new album coming out that is a continuation, so they actually make it a sequel to the story. But my favorite one was Von Kanta, the a cappella band, where they actually had a famous, and I can't remember, who's a famous voice actor from Hollywood. They hired him to introduce each song. So he told it like this sort of verbose story about warriors and knights. And every song he would do this little intro snippet and then introduce the song. So that they tied the whole thing as like this guy sitting by a fire telling the story. Then he would introduce the new song and the new story. And it was really cool. It's called Voices of Fire. And that whole album is really cool. Yeah.
So before I forget this, you guys make sure that you send me links to your playlist that you can get. Okay, as soon as we're done, Pete, I know that your bed's calling you, man. But as soon as we're done, put together some links to your playlist and zap those to me. And what I'll do is I'll include those in the information when I because I always go back and edit the post to make sure I get all of our contact info there. And we'll make sure that we put up all of our links to our playlist.
I can send you links to I am one of the I still listen to CDs most of the time because of albums. So I don't actually have playlists, but I'll send you my bands and some songs I like.
Mine right here. Yeah. Well, so here's what I would ask you to do then, because I get you. I totally get you. Just figure out who you'd say, run to YouTube and look it up, and then just send me that link.
That's what I was thinking.
You can probably find it there.
So,
anybody else? Anything about music? I want to run through. If you don't have anything, I'm going to run through these real quick. This one is Cat and Mouse 14, Bullets to Spare. Where's that come from? Anybody know? Oh, I should watch the chat too in case they get it. Bullets to Spare. Come on. I gave you hints early. I'll wait and see if anyone on the stream. I didn't realize so many of my titles were all. This one is Sight for Sore Eyes. Anybody?
Terrible with titles.
So it's song titles, right? Nobody.
Yeah.
Here's one. Come on. Take Hold of the Flame, the double page spread from Cat Mouse 10. Take Hold of the Flame. It should be.
Yeah.
What? Really, I'll get to one that somebody knows. Oh, here. This one's hard to read, but it goes down the side here called Dead on Time. Dead on Time? Anybody? Man, I haven't gotten a single one of them yet. I'm just wondering. Oh, you should get this one. Keep Yourself Alive.
Oh, Keep Yourself Alive.
Yes. Who?
Keep Yourself Alive. Yep.
Yes. That's it. Who? Who is it? Who is it? Huh?
Queen.
Yes, Queen. Yes, very good. There's a Queen song. This one's gonna be a little bit harder. This one's called Without Warning.
I'm probably like Barbara. Like, if you could tell me a title,
it's Queensryche. It's Queensryche.
Oh, is it? Because you play the song, and I'm like, oh yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Barb, you got to get this one. Mike, you should probably get this one too. This one's called Riding the Storm Out.
Oh, Riding the Storm Out. Yep.
Who is it?
My mind just went blank, but I know the song.
Mike?
I'm blanking. I've got blanking.
I saw them live.
I can hear it. In my head perfectly. I can't remember the name of the band.
And I was so disappointed. They sounded just like the album. And I'm like, really? I could have listened to the album at home. REO Speedwagon.
That's it. Thank you.
Yeah. Why I used an REO Speedwagon song, I don't really know. I'm not really an REO Speedwagon fan.
but it worked for the title. Yeah, Wubba got it, said REO. All right,
Has
good.
anybody
So
seen the manga? Read the manga or the anime JoJo's Bizarre Adventure?
I know
All
of
the
it.
Yeah, all the characters are named after American bands. So there's a guy whose name is REO Speedwagon, Mr. REO Speedwagon. There's a guy named Vanilla Ice.
Oh
And,
no!
Yeah, it is hilarious. But yeah, JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. Every character is like named after an American band.
That's funny. That
Yeah,
sounds funny,
yeah.
actually.
Yeah.
Okay, well, cool. Anybody have anything else you want to say about music and listening to music and while you create? We talked about a lot of fun stuff, cool stuff. Excuse me. No, everybody good? We did not have an indie review for the week. Excuse me, but I know that Wayne Hall is going to be doing the next one. So next week we'll have it Wednesday, and then again on next week for the indie review. This time next week. Let me pull up my schedule here. So tomorrow night, we have Silverline 101 at 9 p.m. with our very own Barb Kelberg. We're going to dive in and find out what makes Barb tick.
God, like a bomb.
I know.
So we're going to ask all kind of questions about her early childhood or early comic influences and all that kind of stuff. So if you've got questions, send them to me, and I'll be sure that I ask them. And I have on our list that we're going to be talking about coloring, but I don't have any specifics. So hold tight as to what we're going to be talking about Wednesday and next Sunday, because I am not sure about that. Probably we've been so focused on the Kickstarter that I haven't paid too much attention to our schedule of stuff. But yeah, so tomorrow night we will be back, Silverline 101 with Barb. Wednesday night, our Silverline Wednesday Wham crew, I think that's what they decided they want to call themselves, Silverline Wednesday Wham, will be on 9 p.m. And then we will be back on again next week for whatever our topic happens to be. Same Silverline time, same Silverline channel. So where can folks find you? Curtis, where can people find you on the interwebs?
Yeah, you can find me on Facebook, just Curtis Fujita, and I'm also on Instagram and YouTube under my martial arts school, Tiger Crane 805, and also on Facebook, Tiger Crane Kung Fu. That's where you can find me.
Very cool. Barb, what about you?
Barbara Kailberg. That's KAALBERG. I'm the only Barbara Kailberg on the internet, so it's not hard to find me. Google me. I'm also on DeviantArt. I'm on Twitter and Facebook under that name.
And I don't think we said it live, but happy anniversary to you and Hubley.
Thank you. 39 years. Yeah.
That's
on
impressive.
Friday.
Anniversary.
Yeah. That's 39 years is an awesome achievement.
Well, if you count the year that we lived together in illegal bliss, it's been 40 years.
Yep.
Back then, that was really pushing the envelope. So
yeah, I dated BJ for 7 years, and she's like, we really need to count that somehow. She says, well, there's 7 years that we were together, but we weren't married. She said we should really count that. It just, we should be. It's more than 30 years. And I'm like, I know what it is. Pete, what about you? Where can people find you on the interwebs?
Oh, it's real easy. It's Peter Clinton Art, and you'll find that Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, DeviantArt. I somehow cornered the name on that. So,
me too.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. Cassisi says, thanks for the live sessions, guys. I learned a lot from them. And he said, happy anniversary, Barb. Thanks for joining us, Cassisi. Hey, look, don't be afraid to Cassisi is the guy I was telling you about, my former student who's got his comic that he sent to the printer. Don't be afraid to ask us some hard questions. We need some hard questions. Aaron, what about you? Where can people find you?
Instagram at the ALH 3810, Facebook Humphreys Illustration, HUMPHRES Illustration. My Godlings is on Webtoons, to search Godlings. And then I have a store, Humphreys Illustration at bigcartel.com. I think that's my little online store with all my stuff.
Sweet.
I think that's it. Yeah, I think that's it right now.
Yep. And as a reminder, you'll be able to find all of these links and the information. So I know there's some of them come across pretty quick, and you're trying to type them in really fast. I'll put them all in there. Mike, what about you? Where can folks find you and Man the Mask?
You can find me at amkcomics.com. That's my website. And then you can find under the Facebook the same thing. And then Mike W. Belcher on Twitter and on Facebook.
Sweet. And Becca,
Hi.
what about you?
Yes, you can find me on Facebook at Rebecca Winslow, Instagram at comic_art with K's, and Twitter, which I never remember my handle because I keep forgetting it exists. So, but I think you have that.
I don't remember it, but I do have it. It's on my. So I'll make sure I put it on the.
Yeah, I'm trying to get better about using Twitter. Trying.
Yeah. You know, it's one of those things. I don't know whether I want to encourage that or not because it's just a mess. Twitter. But yeah, it's one of those things you almost kind of feel like you have to do it to promote your stuff, you know. But yeah, it's a mess there. But yeah, you can find me on Facebook, Roland Man. You can find me on Twitter at Man Roland. And then of course the Silverline links. We've got the website, silverlinecomics.com, and you can find us on Facebook. Many of you are probably already watching us on Facebook, and we appreciate your views and your support. Please don't forget to like and share and favorite and heart and love and follow and all that other stuff that you do. Subscribe on YouTube, etc. And thank you for watching. So until next time,
Make mine
make
Silverline.
mine Silverline. Good night, everyone.
Good night.
Good night.